Hi, I'm Azaria, and today I am grateful for the opportunity to get to tell you a little bit about myself and why I think I might be a great fit for the position of marketing specialist with BrandSpark. To kick things off, I'll tell you a little bit about my background, share some of my accomplishments and skills that I think would help me most in the role, share a couple of challenges that I could see potentially coming up and how I might overcome them, share a few things that I've learned and a vision that I have for my first 10 years in the company if I were to take on the role, and a couple of strategies that I might be able to implement in that time. And then just to round things out, a couple of questions that I have for you so that I can get to know the company, the role, and the brand a little bit better. To kick things off, just a little bit about me and my background. I'm currently a student at UVU with their online business management and analytics degree. I have an anticipated graduation of May 2027, and I'm super excited to round that out. I am also on an entrepreneurial track in life with having been a part of 2 startups so far, both of which are currently operating successfully. During my time in school, I am prioritizing a role in retail management and working on developing skills like my team development that I enjoy. A couple of the achievements that I think are most beneficial to me in this role would be, first off, my participation in the 2 startups that I was a part of. Within those startups, I got to be a part of developing and creating their brand identity from the ground up and being able to develop that first niche audience, which I think is a very unique opportunity. I was also able to successfully collaborate with the owners of the companies, stakeholders, and vendors in order to create and identify ways to increase profit for companies across all of their marketing channels. And one of the things that I did within those companies was actually to develop their websites and then develop the campaigns to help drive traffic to the websites for each company, seeing approximately 30% growth in sales off of the success of those websites. Skills that I see being most beneficial to me in taking on this role would be, first off, communication. As I mentioned in my time with the startups, I was able to communicate with owners, vendors, stakeholders, and even some of our customers face-to-face to be able to develop plans in order to increase profitability across all of the channels that we had available to us. I was also able to develop strong skills in brand development and brand voice identity because I was able to start these companies from the ground up and really work on how we wanted to be established in the communities that we were a part of. Within my role, I was in charge of multiple channels, including social media content, radio, and print advertising, as well as a couple of commercials. Within the roles that I had with the digital side of things, I was also the spearhead on all of our content creation. So I did get to put my creative vision to work and test out some fun campaigns to see how that creativity translated to our audiences. And then last but not least, I'm highly skilled in trend analysis across a variety of markets. Being able to stay on top of what is the world talking about and how can our brand be a part of it is something that I got very good at my time with both companies. Some challenges that I could see coming up. First of all, being able to represent the ROI for an established company. As I mentioned, a lot of my experience so far has been in startups where representing how we're seeing growth in sales can be a little bit easier to determine because everything is so young. A couple of strategies that I do see making it easier in order to represent those ROIs is to utilize things like Google Analytics and current CRM software that the company is using just to be able to try to track how those marketing campaigns might be impacting the company's overall growth and projections. Also running A/B testing on any of our campaigns that we are running just to help me establish what direction the brand needs to go in order to continue seeing growth. And then last but not least, setting very clear KPIs between me and the team, as well as the other departments that we are collaborating with in order to make sure that we are establishing a very clear path of what looks like success for us. Another challenge that I see being somewhat difficult would be to settle into an established brand voice. With all of my experience being in startups thus far, I have created the entire brand voice from scratch. So settling into something that's established, that customers are used to and expecting, is something that I see being a little bit of a learning curve for me, which I am excited about that potential opportunity. A couple of things that I believe I could implement to aid in that particular struggle would be, first of all, just studying successful campaigns that the company has had so far. What have customers loved? What have they not loved? And how can I incorporate those things into campaigns as we continue to develop? Another thing would be to find opportunities for modernization and improvement. Being able to bring the brand voice forward with all of the coming trends without losing sight of the brand's overall identity. And then last but not least, getting very familiar with the current processes that the company has and just seeing if there are any innovative ideas that I can bring in to help improve upon the current processes so that I can settle into the company and the atmosphere, but also still be able to bring in some of that innovation that I am used to having. A couple of things that I have learned that I think will help me in my progression in the role. First thing being, content is king, but strategy will always be more important. Being able to develop strong strategies from start to finish and how to execute each step along the way is something that I have become incredibly skilled at. Being able to launch a brand new campaign, track how it's doing, alter it where needed in order to see the ROI that we are expecting is something that I've had to do across every campaign within the companies that I've had the opportunity to work with. So it is a skill that I see being very beneficial in this role. The next is that bridge between creative and analytical thinking. I am naturally a creative person, I always have been, but I'm also very analytical. I like to see things in a list and I like to be able to check them off. So being able to bridge creativity and analytics into successful campaigns and marketing and brand development is something that really settled well with me and is something that I've always been particularly good at. Last thing, collaborative abilities must be top tier. Within my role in the couple of startups that I have been a part of, the biggest things that I got to partake in is setting up relationships with vendors, setting up initial campaigns in order to generate new users and new customers to each brand, which required collaboration between owners, between newspapers, between TV executives. So it's a pretty wide net of collaborative opportunity that allowed me to outreach. And then I also got to manage the entirety of one of my company's talent teams. So being able to collaborate with them on content creation, on product launches, and on fashion shows that we got to run, which was super exciting. The vision that I have, should I take on this role, would be to start out in my first 3 years just developing an understanding of all of the core systems, learning and embodying the brand's voice and message and goals, and becoming very consistent with executing campaigns that deliver on the KPIs that provide the highest ROI for the company. In years 3 to 5, I expect to be able to lead strong multi-channel campaigns that help project growth for the company, use gathered data to optimize our campaigns and continue to develop the brand's voice, and mentor new teammates coming in to be able to embody the brand and really live and breathe that message so that it comes through in all of the work that we're doing. In years 5 through 10, I hope to move into more senior and executive roles, help to develop long-term strategies for brand growth, and drive innovation within the company just to continue to see that growth across all departments. Some strategies that I think that I will be able to implement include story-driven brand-first campaigns. As I mentioned, I was able to be a part of these startups where prioritizing creating that brand identity was something that I took very seriously and was very strongly responsible for. So understanding how to create a story brand, how to put those messages out, and how to really connect our users to the brand is something that I am incredibly good at, and I see myself being able to carry over into my time with BrandSpark. Next, targeted content and audience segmentation. Being able to kind of segment BrandSpark's audiences to be able to present the information most useful to them to allow them to connect with the company in the ways that are most beneficial to them and to the company's overall growth. Finally, engaging platform-specific social media strategies. Social media is one of the strongest things that I've participated in so far in marketing. So being able to create engaging strategies that help to keep loyal people coming back to the page, liking, engaging, commenting, and really just enjoying the brand's message, that is something that I feel very strongly about, and it is something that I think that in my time with BrandSpark, should I be able to step into the role, is definitely something that I would be able to help improve upon and see the company's growth with. Finally, just to wrap some things out, a couple of questions that I would love to know about you. First off, how do you balance pushing your creative, out of the box ideas with being able to still meet the measurable performance goals that the company has and the expectations that you would have for successful campaigns? Next, what would success look like for someone like me freshly stepping into the role in the first 6 to 12 months, just to be able to gauge how much growth might be expected in that time? And then last but not least, I mentioned one of my core interests would be to understand success in the company thus far. So I would love to know which of your most recent campaigns you see being the most successful for the company and offering the most growth and development within your brand's voice. But other than that, that would wrap everything up for today. Again, I greatly appreciate the opportunity to be able to share a little bit about myself, my interest in the role, and the things that I think that I can bring to the company to help grow in that role.